Hello, everyone. We got a few people in right now. We can wait a little while to get started. Between now and when we get started with the main presentation, I just wanted to show you that I have an email up on my screen here. You would have all probably received something very similar to this email. And we're going to go through the decision why we need to do this upgrade and what the changes with SharePoint and Microsoft at large are that are affecting this. And then we're also going to cover the step-by-step, which we have here on the left side of my screen, but we'll cover both of these and you'll actually see one of the upgrades being done for a site that needs it. If anybody has any questions as we go along, feel free to post them in the questions area of the GoToWebinar control panel that you have on your screen. And we'll try to address any of those as they come. This is being recorded, so you'll be able to reference it later. You don't need to feel like you need to take copious notes or anything as we're going through. Krista, how are we looking on attendees? I don't know how many we're expecting on this webinar.
Yeah, we're looking good. I'd say you could go ahead and get started, and then if people are a little late, they can always catch up or listen to the recording.
Okay, great. So all of this came about, and we apologize that some of you probably already did a different update with us just in the latter part of last year, and we were hoping not to have to do this twice. We very rarely have these mandatory upgrades, but both of these have come from situations that were basically out of our control. This one that we're dealing with right now has to do with what is called add-ins in SharePoint. It was a way of adding different applications, this add-in model for custom applications that we're talking about here. There's a link on this web page, which is this area over here. Actually, let me get my cursor pro so you can see my mouse moving around a little bit better here. So this link is what we're looking at here on the left side of the screen. If you want to know more about the add-in thing, you can learn more about it at this Microsoft article. Basically, it's just a way that we used to be able to add in custom applications. And now we're switching over. SharePoint doesn't want to allow those anymore. So now we're switching over to what's called SPFX. And this is just a way for us to add the applications that we're using for these NITRO Studio and Crow Canyon softwares in SharePoint. And they're no longer going to be using that add-in model. So we're going to have to move away from it. And we have been moving away from it for years. There are just a few of the items that need to be updated to that, away from that add-in model and into this SPFX model. So that's what this update is about. And we do have until April of next year to do this, but the reason or the timeline that we're working on here is that we want to be able to provide support to all of our customers as they go through this process. In case anything comes up, we've been installing this new SPFX model since July 1st for new installations. And since December of 2024, we've been upgrading individuals and carefully monitoring those. And now we're at this point where we've been releasing it to customers to do themselves. And that's what brings you here today, is that you're part of this May group of users that are going to be doing this. And we're doing different groups every month so that we can have our support staff on call should anything come up that needs to be addressed for you, and we can get to it right away. So that's the reasoning behind the update that we need to do. Let's get into what the update is going to involve, what the requirements are, and things like that. So let me just grab my notes here. So the main situation here is that we need to have a global administrator doing this, which means you need to have full control of the SharePoint environment and have those permissions. If you need more information about that, just feel free to reach out to one of us and we can give you more information about that. The next thing is that it needs to be done on a site collection by site collection basis. Most of you on this call probably only have 1 or 2 site collections. There may be a few of you that have more site collections. If you don't understand the difference between those site collections and how to know if you which site collection is needed, part of that will be covered as we go through these different steps, as far as how you can find out what site collections you need and where you need to go to update those in particular. The next thing you need to know is that there's going to be some downtime during this process. It doesn't take very long. It's not going to be down for very long, depending on how many site collections you're updating, but it is advised that either you just if you have a limited number of users that use the software, you can just let them know there's going to be downtime during the day, or you could do it after hours when no one is using that particular system. The last thing to know is that each site in the site collection is going to take about 15 minutes to upgrade. So to do a site collection with 2 sites, for example, it would take about 30 minutes to do that. And we'll also show you as we go through these steps how many different sites you have. And there's a way for you to estimate that amount of time that it will take. That's the general overview of what we're going to be covering here. Any of you who got one of these emails from us, if you need to reach out, just reply to that email and let us know if you have any questions or if you want support to help you with this process. We don't have direct access into many of your sites, and we are certainly not going to be global administrators of your sites, so we would need to do that on a screen share with you, but we absolutely have the ability to do that. But like I said, once you see this process done, it shouldn't be very difficult. You should be able to do it on your own. That way you can do it whatever time you want to do it. Any questions on the overview before we move on and I hand it over to Sadir to actually walk us through one of the upgrades? Doesn't look like any questions are in there right now.
Nothing's
Okay.
coming through, but feel free to raise your hand, and we can unmute you, or you can put a question in the questions box. Well, I'll be monitoring that to help answer anything they have, questions they have.
Anything I missed, James?
No, I think you pretty much covered it. I mean, it's another push from Microsoft to move to this different architecture, and it's the just the I don't know if you highlighted this because I was trying to answer an email here going on your show,
Sure.
but the unlike the CDN upgrade which we did earlier this year, which was a critical, unexpected update, this has been planned out by Microsoft, and we've known about it for a while, and it's all reliant on Microsoft's the add-ins, and there's so many people who are using add-ins that it is very unlikely, because we've had this question come up before, but it's very unlikely that that end date is going to change. It's not going to be pushed back either earlier or later than it already is. So the need to move away from the add-ins by April 2nd, 2026 is an absolute. It's if you're using add-ins and you want to keep using it, the functionality that the add-ins provide, you're going to have to find an alternative, and this is what we're providing as the alternative in the context of our solution.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't cover that. And the other thing to add there is that it's very unlikely that this is not the kind of change that SharePoint would be making with any frequency. They had add-ins for years. They stopped using add-ins. They're moving over to this new architecture, and we don't expect them to change their mind about this in 6 months or a year or even 2 years. It's a pretty major change for them and everyone who's building on that architecture. So we wouldn't, I mean, while we can't predict Microsoft, that's for sure, but we wouldn't expect for them to make another change like this at any time in the near future.
Yep, correct.
Okay, I'll turn it over to Sadir. I'll stop sharing my screen here.
Wait, Carlos had a question. Carlos, go ahead. That's okay. And I think you can unmute yourself, Carlos, if you have a question.
Hi, everybody. My question was on the last CDN update, we asked if there would be this ability to do it at the tenant level. Is that a possibility that we can do now, or are we still gonna have to go site collection by site collections? Because we have about a minimum, I'd say, of about 400 sites that are already using this, and about maybe another 100 subsites that might be using this already.
Yeah, and I absolutely understand where you're coming from, and I asked the team about that. Maybe I don't know if Sadir can add any shedding light on that piece of it, but the my understanding is that we don't have the ability to do it on a tenant-wide basis at the time. I'll have to follow up with my team on that, get the specific reason. I did find out it was a few weeks ago. He told me it just wasn't what we're going to have available for this go around to do these updates at the tenant level. I'm sure there's a technical reason. It's just escaping me at the moment.
In your situation, how are those divided up by site collections though? Because the update is done at a site collection level. So
Yeah.
in that situation, it would be, you know, whatever. Are they all under like in a? Let me see if I can get a example here. Give me just a second.
Yeah, no, and I know these guys.
They're
They
all
have
under the same tenant.
they
All
have a
the
lot.
site collections are under the same tenant because we have like the enterprise level license.
Hmm.
But we do have certain sites that have a couple of subsites, others only have at the main site collection level. But I'm curious, I was asking because we have different time zones. So we have people that are
Hmm.
going to be working in about, I would say, maybe 3 different time zones. And once we start, the second question I was going to make was once we start doing this upgrade, um, does it have to be everything done at once, or can we like say this weekend we're going to run, we hope to update 100 site collections, and then the next weekend we can do another 100 and so
Mhm.
forth and so on? Or does it have to be once you start, you have to finish it all the way through?
Yeah, you can do it. You can do a piecemeal like that. You can do it, and that's one of the reasons we want to make sure you guys, specifically your company specifically, were in the one of the initial phases here of getting this rolled out is the time it's going to take to do it. But it certainly can be done, you know, as you go, right? It's not an all or nothing kind of situation. You can have, you know, any number of your site collections on the 3.0 modern architecture, and you can have any number of them on the 2.6 modern classic architecture. And you can continue with that mixed mode scenario until April 2nd. So, you know, just
But it
as of
is,
April 2nd, everything's, you know, all the classic ones will stop working. So you want to get them done ahead of that, but you do have until April next year to get everything moved over to the modern architecture.
but it is site collection by site collection. You can't do just one site in a collection, for example,
Uh,
at a time.
right.
Yeah,
That's right.
I understand that, but I just
Okay.
wanted to see if we could do that because, like I said, we have certain users that work in Europe, some other users work in Asia, some other users work here in America.
Right.
So we just don't want to leave, we just don't want to be in a situation where we have to do everything at the same time, meaning sequentially, I'm sorry, but like have to start and then have to finish because I don't think a weekend is going to be enough for us based
No,
on
Right.
no.
your calculation of the time that's needed. I don't think we're going to be able to do everything in a weekend. We're going to try, but if we have more sites and the numbers say that we need more than 48 hours, then we need to segment that and see how we're going to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think
Thank you.
yeah, and I think to kind of circling back to your question about the tenant level upgrade, if we did offer a tenant level upgrade, you would not have that option of doing it on a site collection by site collection basis, in the sense that you would not be able to control which sites are being updated when, right? So if you did it for a full tenant with a lot of with as many site collections as you have, it could take a long time. It could bomb out. It could just, there are a number of risks with having the 10 level upgrade at that, with this big of an upgrade, that I think even if we had that option available, you'd probably want to do the site collection by site collection upgrade anyway.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Okay. Let's
Any
see.
other questions before we start with the run through? Okay,
Yeah, I think we're good.
great. Sudhir, do you want to take over?
Sure.
Yeah. Severe, I'll make you presenter.
Okay.
Right, there you go.
Right. Please let me know if you're able to see.
Yes, I can see.
So this is one of our existing sites where we have Nitro installed, the 2.x version. And so I'm in the root of the site, and I'm go to this Nitro Studio, which will take us to the existing 2.x version. So I'm considering this site as a base to go through the upgrade process. And currently, like, this is at 2.6.20. Now for the initial part, for the upgrade scenario, we have this URL that need to be browsed into. And initially, once you are in this page, you'll be prompted to grant APIs permissions. That will be done by the global admin. And for that, you will notice a screen similar to, just a minute. Yep. Initially, for the first time when you browse, you'll be granted to, global admin need to grant these permissions and these APIs for the first time. And this is one-time job at the tenant level. And once this process is done, then you will see all your existing 3.x sites as well as the 2.x sites. So all your 2.x sites will see like upgrade required as the scenario. And your latest sites will see like manage things once you get them updated to the 3.x. Now for the upgrade scenario, within the same article, we have the detailed steps. I'm just going to the top. You'll be going to this specific page /upgrade.net/upgrade, and that takes you to this page here. This will list out all your existing site collections one by one that are already present in the 2.x version, like this old version here. So whichever site collection that you want to run the upgrade, you can type in or get that site collection searched here. And before you run the upgrade, make sure logged in user is a member of the site collection admins for this one. And you hit the upgrade button here. Now within this screen, again, it will calculate how many sites were present that need to be updated within this site collection. So currently in my site collection, like I have it at root site activated and a subsite modern apps here. So considering 2 sites, you have the number of sites as 2. And on completion, again, we are sending out to the logged in user. If needed, like you can remove and type in the email address of your recipient as needed. Now at this point, once you click OK, again, we'll primarily check the prerequisites, whether the basic install is done or permissions were granted, and then we'll proceed with the update process. So I'm hitting OK, then I'll see the progress here. Initially, it will check for the site collection prerequisites, and then you will also start seeing like 1 of 2 sites or 1 of 3 sites, depending upon the number of sites updates. Yep, you will start seeing like 1 of 2 sites. It will basically install the Nitro API permissions, and then all your existing apps will be updated to the 3.x version. I mean the app configurations. And your Nitro workflows, earlier we were using the event receiver mode. Those will be turned over to the webhook model as well during this update.
Sudhir, at this point, if they were doing multiple site collections, if they needed to get multiple site collections done, at this point of the upgrade, they could go to another browser tab and start another upgrade on a different site collection? Is
Yes,
that true?
Eric, we can do that.
Great.
But I think there is some caution with doing multiple site collections at one time. I think, right, Sudhir, we don't want to do a lot at once because of some throttling issues. Is that correct?
It is also possible, James. It depends on the SharePoint as well, like how fast we are going to do this here.
Okay, well, I just don't want our customers to start doing 10 to 20 site collections at one time and then run into issues.
Sure, sure. And while this update is in progress, we will also notice a small ribbon at the top in the site that the Nitro upgrade is in progress. This message here that appears while it is in progress. And as part of these updates, we will also be updating the links within the site settings. Like we do have links in the site settings, like for Canyon Nitro apps, Nitro workflows. All these apps will be re-updated, reinstalled with the links to the latest 3.x apps once this process is finished. And you don't need to update them anything manually.
I guess while we're waiting on this process, if anybody has any questions about what we've covered in doing this upgrade thus far, or any other questions along those lines, we can cover those while we're waiting.
Yeah, I don't see it coming in, but one thing I want to get clarity on, I think because we talked about earlier about the number of upgrades, I think it really is risky to do more than 5 at a time within one tenant, unfortunately, for the folks who have larger numbers of site collections. It just seems going to take more time. I just don't want those to time out and have potentially negative impact on your users. There are rollback options, which is one of the reasons we weren't able to roll these things out earlier, as we did not have an automated rollback option. Maybe CDR when this is done, or maybe we can take a look at that possibility of rolling back the update if it doesn't go through or it doesn't work.
Right.
There's the option to roll back for a site collection. So I think that's in the documentation, right, Sadir?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
If
So you have the
anything
whole
goes wrong,
process.
you just go to that site contents and then to the app, NITRO Studio app. And within the NITRO Studio, we have this rollback site as an option. That comes, once the site is in the 3.x version.
Right.
Just hit the rollback.
And what kind of indication would they be looking for to make the decision that they need to roll back?
Yeah, generally, we don't anticipate any issues so far with the upgrades done, and we didn't see any. But if something is broken drastically, that's where we go with this rollback option, unless it is mandatory.
Carlos had a question.
Yes, Carlos.
Should we? I guess this is a two-part question. Number one, do we lose the version history for the Nitro forms? And the other is, should we back up Nitro forms and workflows before we do the updates in case we have to do a rollback?
Yeah, there is no data loss here. All your existing forms and the number of versions that you have in the Nitro forms or custom actions, each and every setting file will stay intact. It just get updates with another version as part of this upgrade process. And for the sorry, didn't catch your another question. Can you please repeat?
Yeah, should we back up the Nitro forms and the workflows independently in case we need to do a rollback? I ask because just yesterday I saw a form that was pretty complex and doing a lot of lookups and stuff like that. So I just want to make sure I don't lose that functionality if anything goes wrong.
Sure. I don't think we need to take the backup message because all the settings files will be stored within your site under site assets library. And we have that versions enabled as well. It will be something like this. And we have a folder called CCS, which is where we store all the settings files, per custom actions or list search or list view or workflows or forms. Every settings file, will be located in here. And again, these will have versions you can revert at any point of time in case if you run into issues.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, looks like one of the site is done and the second site is in progress.
Sudhir, while we're waiting for this process to complete, can you cover a little preview of the steps that are after this, these
Sure.
progress bars would cover?
So once
We
the
didn't promise anyone that this is going to be entertaining, but we might as well have some information being conveyed while we're waiting for progress bars. We all know what progress bars look like. We're IT professionals, right?
once the update was done, you will see a similar message with all your sites listed here with a success message, and obviously you will get a notification as well once the process is finished. Now the next part after the update, quickly we will go through each apps from within the Nitro 3.x version and make sure you're able to access all the apps existing settings. And once that is done, then we will be removing the old SharePoint add-ins from the site collection. So for this one, again, we do have the automation. I'll just shortly show you. Once the update is applied, you'll see like this, for that site collection, and you have the remove SharePoint add-ins button, just like a small dustbin. Just click on it, and it takes off, the old SharePoint add-ins. Of course, we provide this warning message just to get confirmation, and then you hit OK. Now, once you do that, then our application will go through and remove the old add-ins here, Crocanyon, Nitro Portal, email and texting, advanced approval, and this Nitro Workflows. But you will still be retained with another app that says Crocanyon NITRO Studio app. The image is slightly cut here, but it is NITRO Studio app. Old NITRO Studio, it will NITRO Studio app new one. These will be going away from the site collection. And you will be left over with three things like Nitro Web Parts 1, 2, 3, and the NITRO Studio app in the root sign.
So basically, Sudhir, just an overview there. Once the update is completed, then we want to check and make sure, and this was probably where we would find that we, if some of these checks here on these bulleted items, if these apps didn't launch, that would be a good reason that you might want to consider rolling back, right? Because those aren't launching for whatever reason, right? And then obviously, if any time during the upgrade process, if the internet connection was interrupted or the browser tab got closed or anything like that, that would be another situation where you would want to be considering whether you should be rolling back, right? And so once the upgrade is completed, we go and we check all of these different applications to make sure that they are working correctly, and just opening up basically is all that we need to see there, right?
Yep.
Okay. And then at that point, we should feel confident that we could go ahead and get rid of the old add-ins, which is the next step of this process. And that's able to be done via automation by clicking those trash can icons. Great. While we're waiting, does anybody have any questions on the post update process that we just covered there?
Yes, Pablo.
Yeah. Okay, there we go.
There we go.
All right.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. Yeah. So I had a question related to under your subscription details. You can go out and you can look at all site collections that you have Nitro deployed to.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any way at that level that we could see, like, if it's been updated or not?
Yes. So suppose you have some multiple site collections here. Once you come to this page, you will see what all needs upgrade and what were already updated in this list here.
Yeah. So what I'm talking about is under the subscription level where it shows all site collections.
Yeah. So I think what Sudhir is saying is that upgrade page she was just looking at is going to show the same information.
Gotcha.
It's going to show it's going to show all those site collections. It's just going to be a slightly different view, of course, but
Okay.
it'll
It
show
would
you
be
what needs
nice
to be
if we
upgraded.
could see, what the status is. Has it been upgraded to modern, or because right now it just kind of just shows the site. And
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to talk to the dev team about adding the detail into the site, into that site collection piece of it.
yeah, because that might be kind of useful to be able to, see where your status is, right? So what we did in the past with the past upgrade is we just exported to Excel, and then we pulled it into a list, and then we managed it through the SharePoint list as we did the upgrade process. But I don't know, where it's already here, it might be nice to be able to see, what level, like what version it's running, right? That would be
Right.
useful. Just some feedback, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's great. I'll make a note of that.
Cool. That was it.
Anyone else have any questions? This looks like it's about to wrap up. Progress bar wise, well, I mean, true to form with progress bars, right? 79% doesn't mean we're 3/4 of the way through the amount of time that it's going to take, but anybody else have any questions? I guess I have one question, Sudhir. This link that we're at, this URL that we're at here is not one that we can navigate to from inside of Nitro anywhere. This is, you specifically have to go to that URL, correct?
Yes, yes, Eric. Yep. We need to
Okay.
specifically go to this one, upgrade URL.
Okay. And then from there, kind of going back to Pablo's question, you would see all of the different site collections for the entire tenancy and their upgrade status, but there is not necessarily a way to export that the way that we were able to from the subscriptions page, right?
Right, yes.
Okay, all right, great, thanks.
Right, the message appears and will also be notified initially with the email address that we provided. And you hit OK. And the page gets refreshed. Now within this list, I mean, this has a lot of sites listed here, but let me yep, you will see like updates applied as the case for the site that we just updated. For the other
Okay,
sites,
so I get it now that you have the comprehensive list here under this.
right, all your
Okay.
site collections in the tenant.
Perfect.
And
Okay.
what already.
That's what I was looking for, is like one place to be able to see what's been upgraded and what hasn't.
Yeah, to your point though, Pablo, I didn't realize that you didn't understand that part, but what I was asking specifically was that you make a good point. It would be nice if we could export this to Excel if you wanted to track it in some other way, or plan around, say, okay, these are the ones that we have. We're going to do these on this date and this time, and these on those times, and those kinds of things. It would be nice. And it's more likely that we would be able to add a way to export the information on this page, in my assessment at least, than it would be for us to add in the upgrade status into the page that you were talking about. So we'll look at it from both directions and see if we can get something along those lines for you. But yes, this particular page not only shows the ones that need to be upgraded, but also shows the different phases of the upgrade, right? Because right now, these ones that say updates applied, they have gotten their 3.0 update, right? And he just sorted it by that at the top there. But what they haven't had yet is they haven't had the trash can step, getting rid of the old add-ins, right? So here, that's the way that's the situation here, is that the icon would change, the information would, or the status would change once the the items were thrown away, or do we not have a status for that?
We don't have status for we have status for this one, like updates applied, but this is different. It
Okay,
applies
so
differently.
there's not a way, there's not an indication that the add-in applications have been removed from the site.
Correct, yes. If they're removed already, then this will go away. This button will not be shown in that case.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so now we'll go to our site, which we have just updated. This is the one. And if I go to site contents, so I'll see like all the old add-ins like workflows, NITRO Studio, NITRO Portal, email and texting, and advanced approvals, along with the new one. This came today, NITRO Studio app here. And one more thing to notice, so once the site is updated, from the site gear icon also, you will start seeing this Canyon NITRO Studio button. This is one more additional thing that takes you to the NITRO Studio page for 3.x version. And in the new version here, everything will be shown under this page, nitrostudio.aspx. Previously, it used to have different URL, provider hosted URL, but now everything is within your site page, and we render within your site here. And you'll see the version getting updated from the old 2.6.20 to 3.x now. The same thing applies here also. All the existing sites will automatically get updated. And let's say if I go into one of the page, this will be your NITRO apps page for that specific site. And again, you'll see a similar interface, forms, custom actions, workflows. But from here, like you can go to each app, and again, all the apps which previously used to go to a different provider hosted URL, everything you will start seeing from this page now. Site pages, NITRO add-in. You'll have all the workflows listed here. All your existing workflows will stay intact. There will be no change. It's just that the mechanism change from the event receiver to the webhook model.
So just by getting to this page, we know that the workflow webhook model is behaving correctly.
Correct, yes. You should be able to navigate to each apps here without any errors. That's the primary indication here. Let me clear up this old things. So once we were able to validate the apps, then we are okay to proceed with the removal of the NITRO add-ins. I mean the old add-ins, SharePoint add-ins. So I'm going back to the page here, upgrade page. I have NITRO upgrade site here. Now I'll click the remove add-ins button. It gives you this prompt, making sure we are doing this, and we'll hit OK.
So at this point in the process, I mean, I guess as soon as the first progress bars, the double progress bars that we were watching for the majority of this meeting, as soon as those are done, there wouldn't be any other outage for users in the system. We still need to make sure that everything works, and we need to get rid of the add-ins, but any outage time would just be however long those double progress bars were on the screen, right, Sudhir?
Yes, Eric.
Okay, great.
Once you remove the add-ins, is that kind of a point of no return that you can roll back, or is that?
Yeah, we prefer to roll back once you have those add-ins available, because they are required, right, for going back to the 2.x version. So
Yeah, so
anyway,
when you get the delete, that's kind
right.
of a point of no return, right? Where you've
Yep.
confirmed and
Once they're gone, they're gone.
Okay.
So in that situation, Sudhir, there's no disadvantage to not running the delete step because there is no outage. The system will be working using the new architecture and the new applications. The add-in applications are just sitting there in the site contents, and they are not being used by the system any longer. So
Yes.
if they wanted to delay deleting them, is there anything wrong with doing that? Wait a
There's
couple of
nothing
days and see
wrong.
how everything goes.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. There is no immediate need of removing the old add-ins, but yeah, probably we can monitor for a couple of days and see everything is going good. Then we can anytime come to this page here, Nitro upgrade page, and click that delete button.
Okay. So we don't think it's necessary to do that, but it's definitely an option that you can take if you wanted.
Yep. Even if
Okay.
they were stayed, intact here, at the end of Microsoft deadline, they'll stop working, but that's fine.
Okay. Great. And then just to be clear, one browser tab to the left of where you are, where the trash bin is. So now that these have been updated, the trash bin does not disappear, and the updates apply, that text would not change. So when we look at the big list of all of these, okay. So there isn't any indication that that last step has been taken. We would have to track that on our own, that we had done that step to those. Okay.
And now once the site is updated, you will see it here, Nitro update as managed in the actual Nitro page. Previously, it used to be like upgrade required as the name here, something like this, upgrade required. Yep. Now from the site contents, only Nitro Studio app and the Nitro web parts apps will be retaining. Remaining all will be cleared out from the site here, and you are good to go. But if ever you want to roll back for any reason, make sure to roll back before you click that button.
The trash button.
Yep,
The trash can button. Yes. We covered this already in maybe a little bit different way, but I think it is important to say that, using like a different software analysis or example, If we were talking about Word and a bunch of Word documents, the applications, what we're updating is the application, the different tools that NITRO Studio uses. We are not updating or manipulating in any way the files that are all of these settings for forms and workflows and all of those kinds of things. Those files remain the same, correct? They're not edited or moved or anything like that.
Yes, Eric. All the existing settings like the form settings or the custom action settings, everything will be retained. We won't be
Right.
touching. It's the UI process will change. I mean, the app, previously we used to have the apps
Right.
app pages. Now we'll be using the Nitro add-in page within the
Right.
site pages.
And this is why we don't need to, once we do the upgrade, we don't need to go in and look at any of the settings. We don't need to be concerned about any of the settings for those workflows or the layouts of those forms or any of that, because it's really just it's not our Word document that was edited, it's the Word application. And as long as that application launches correctly, then we know that all of our documents will be, or all of our settings for all of our workflows and forms in this analogy would be fine.
Okay, any queries so far in the installation or upgrade process here?
I don't see any hands raised.
Yeah, I think this is good. This is good overview of what needs to happen, how it needs to happen. For anyone on the call currently, if you want to set up a one-on-one session to go through this and work through one of your site collections, let's do that. Looks like we're getting some notifications. A couple of you have kind of taken the lead to start working through this, so that's great. But if any of you want to have a one-on-one session to talk about the upgrade and having additional questions, then certainly let us know. We'll get something going for you. Yeah, I guess that's all we need to cover.
Great. Thank you, Sudhir. That was very helpful. I appreciate your time, and thanks to everybody on the call. Sorry this is necessary. We're probably not going to get an apology from Microsoft or SharePoint for any of these changes, but we certainly can do it on their behalf. We appreciate your patience, and reach out to us and let us know if there's anything that we can do to help you along the way.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Eric. Thanks, Sudhir. Thanks, Krista, for starting us off.
You're welcome.
All right. Bye, everyone.